Right. Hello, my name is Akira, and I do videos on YouTube. But I don't usually do these types of videos. And by these types of videos, I mean voiceovers. Commentary and other of the piece related things. I am by no means a commentary channel, and I'm going to put it out there. This is my first time doing this kind of thing. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and I'll do my best to keep my argument as objective as possible, while providing sources and showcasing our tests piece by piece as we go along. First things first, let's get this cleared up and out of the way as soon as possible. I love Mordhau. The game is single-handedly the best game I've played in a long time, with easy to understand mix-up game, fun neutral, and a goddamn smorgasbord of armor and weapons, perks, and whatnot to choose from. It gives you a great amalgam of builds to fuck around with, and it's overall a great game. However, there is a dark side to this, as no game is perfect, and as silly as it sounds, if I'm going to be the man I want you to respect, I will hold the things I care about most to a critical eye, and judge as objectively as possible within that aspect to the best of my ability. Personally, I believe that should be the case for every hobby, because if you have masses of people who just eat what they're dished out, you'll be left with a very poor medium over time. What's being dished out in this case today is video games, and the meal in particular? Mordhau. Right, so let's jump right into it. First of all on the table is the chase mechanic, and the impact it has on the game. For those of you unaware, there is a secret chase mechanic found in the game. The brunt of what happens in theory is that if someone is fighting you and decides to bail, you can start sprinting after them, and the game will just match your speed with theirs. Sounds great, right? Sick of those nasty spear and halberd users just being the worst little brats of the battlefield? Well, guess what? Take chase and hunt them down. The game lets you fight off those types of players who poke and run. However, the downside is there's no scaling to this mechanic. As I stated earlier, the game just kind of matches your speed no matter what the opponent is wearing, or what the person chasing them is wearing either. What this theoretically does is that you aren't allowed to make a rogue, ranger, thief type character who runs, stabs, and runs away. Think of it as like a guerrilla warfare archetype. Those fast weapons mean nothing to a man who can just run as fast as you in full plate if you dare try and poke him and run. As you can see, this can be very off-putting to those who prefer that type of play. Your first answer might be,
why don't I just use a bow? The range is amazing! And especially on people who know how to use it, right? And it'll keep me away from all the scary men in plate armor trying to tear off my sweet little fucking gonads.
well, don't you worry, Jeremy, it's absolutely worthless. The damage is next to shit and absolutely meaningless outside of being annoying. It won't accomplish anything unless you're better at aiming than some old Quake vets.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, what about crossbows? Surely they'll do more damage, right?
Well, Jeremy, the game's got you screwed over again. While crossbows offer good damage, their effective range is way too close to warrant use for your keep-away metagame, and you'll end up putting on armor because the fights that'll ensue when you try to reload it. You'll look like a lemon in the middle of a battlefield.
Oh, my bow sucks.
Should have used a crossbow. Check this out.
As you can tell, this is what we call a rough place for build diversity in a video game centered around medieval combat. To help me portray this point, not sounding terrible, let me elaborate. In medieval combat, bows and crossbows were absolute beasts, and being able to use one was a skill that you earned through hard work, namely the absolute sheer amount of muscle you needed to use them. You had whole firing squads dedicated to raining iron-tipped hell on those filthy heathens who dared question the morality and legality of your land's tariffs. However, in Mordhau, it feels genuinely like you're shooting in large toothpicks towards walking targets that could genuinely care less that you're firing into their direction, due to the lack of impact it means to use a bow in this game. Whether this is up to the game balance or otherwise, is up for debate. Genuinely, I could see how it would be horrible as a ruffian knight making his way into the battlefield, getting clipped in the torso and basically dying, because I decided to wear a leather chest piece instead of full plate. What I'm trying to get across here is that, while I'm arguing my point for bows and archers to be effective, I don't think Mordhau is ready for the drastic metagame change, and on release shouldn't be expected to be perfect in this manner. Back to the chase mechanic, however, I apologize for getting sidetracked. The biggest issue with this is there's a bar in-game, this one right here, that is straight up lying to you. You could be naked, having the fastest speed available to you, and you would still get caught trying to run away from an interaction. All this does is force the combat aspect to those who try and run away from a fight, then die, with no consideration how it actually affects those who want that movement speed. As far as I'm aware, the only actual positive to using lighter clothes is quicker walking speed and spacing your strikes. But in actuality, why would you be wearing nothing for quicker walking speed to help your spacing and risk getting one-shot by half the weapons in the game? It genuinely feels like the idea is you wear your armor, sit yourself down, and bash people in the head. So why even give the option to wear lighter stuff? Oh yeah, right, balance around that exact interaction. The actual purpose of wearing lighter armor is to use the Halberd, Zwei, and Evening Star. Very solid weapons, locked behind higher point costs. By design as it stands, you are putting yourself directly in a disadvantaged state, trying any other setup that isn't put the heaviest armor on and pick a weapon you like and fight. While a hyperbole, it genuinely feels like that if you're building for a weapon, you want the heaviest armor on. Always, guaranteed. There is next to zero incentive for running lighter than the heaviest armor you can put on. We'll move on to smoke bombs now. The godsend to a class balance I wish worked better. These things are absolutely fucking glorious. Amazing for people who want to run this type of character. This type of character being a rogue, thief type guy who stabs, runs away, and so on and so forth. And just like the shorthand fix to an issue, it has its own issues that are inherent to it. Using a smoke bomb to break the chase mechanic and running away is a great solution, but it is immediately confusing when you realize that you can just place the heaviest armor on and accomplish the exact same goal. Except this time safer, just in case someone nicks you in the smoke screen. As you can see from all this ranting, this is quite an awkward situation to be in. I've personally been having a blast with Mordhau, and I recommend it to everyone who even cares about games in general, as it's a fun shitposty kind of game you can sit back and mess around in due to how easy the learning curve is to understand the basics. And I'd be lying if I said the tutorial didn't get me laughing. The absolute level of passion the creators have for this game is astounding, and the amount of personality that went into it is surprisingly impressive for such a game. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that, genuinely. All in all, I'd still recommend this game to everyone I meet, and to you, the viewer, because goddamn, this game is great. Bashing someone's head in with a, maul out of left field in the middle of a frontline fight is absolutely satisfying as hell. The crunch is top notch, honestly. The sound design is great. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate the time you spent watching this stupid video I put together, and have a good day.